Daniel Penny needs to go to jail. Now, this is what AOC states in a interview, one of those interviews where they caught her in a moment, and she gives this ridiculous response as to why he should be in jail. Because he showed no remorse. First of all, I have to say that even if he doesn't have any remorse, who cares? He did the right thing. But what a lot of people don't realize is that that's a tactic. He doesn't show remorse because he has a poker face. Also, he's a Marine, if I'm not mistaken. So that whole training to kill, that's not a thing. I mean, like, yeah, they train you to kill in the military in general. But he has a poker face. He is probably in his head, as he's sitting in that courtroom, replaying that moment over and over again. And he will be replaying that moment for the rest of his life. Because, yes, he is responsible for doing something to this kid. Nonetheless, it needed to be done. Now, Jordan Neely, who I knew loosely, like I didn't know the kid personally, but I saw him in and out of the building I lived in. The kid was a psych patient. Now, with psych patients, what people don't realize is that at first it starts out sort of mild. You start seeing it, you're like, that dude's out of his mind. Then as they get older, it progresses, right? Because like anything else, it breaks down. Your brain starts breaking down, and the psychosis starts getting worse. And then when you put on meds, it gets even worse faster because your brain is now dependent on this med to stay level. Well, once they miss a dose or two, they can get out of control fast. And in Jordan Neely's case, this is where he was. He was unsupervised, no medication. He was running around the train system, yelling at people. If I'm not mistaken, a couple days prior to that or a week prior to that, he pushed somebody in the train tracks. He tried to attack another old lady a couple weeks prior to the train track pushing. So this kid was developing and turning into a constant problem. But of course, the media doesn't play that. The newspapers, they report it, but the media doesn't talk about that at all. How he was increasingly getting worse. Jordan Neely was increasingly getting worse until he met his match, Daniel Penny. Now, AOC saying that he should show remorse and that because he doesn't, he should go to jail is absolute BS. In fact, they're screaming about Daniel Penny stopping a violent EDP, emotionally disturbed person. But you had an EDP just the other day on the train, light a woman up, and sat down and watched. And there's no outcries. And this is why people don't want to sit down and not sit down, but stand by and help, right? Because of shit like that. Now, granted, the way that situation went down, the kid lit her up and then walked away. And you can see video footages, not even video footages, of screenshots of him walking away from her as she's lit up on fire. And then she becomes a complete human torch and winds up passing away on scene. If somebody was there to have stopped him, this lady would still be alive today. In fact, if they would have never let this guy back into the country, she'd still be alive today. But that's neither here or there. More vigilance need to be done. And because they put Daniel Penny through the ringer for this whole nonsense, you're going to have less people stepping in. Now, me personally, I'm not going to let or have myself deterred by Daniel Penny's situation. It is what it is. You're going to help in a state like New York or a city like New York, you're going to get in trouble. It's just what it is. You have to be able to deal with that situation when it comes up. Because Alvin Braggs did the wrong thing by charging him. But Alvin Braggs, who's a bag of shit, made a great statement after Daniel Penny was found not guilty by saying that the jury has spoken. He goes, he was amongst his peers, they said he was not guilty, and he's free, and that's that. And he left it alone. So good for him for actually making a decent statement, though he made a shit choice by charging Daniel Penny with this crime of, choking out Jordan Neely. Politicians, those ladies on The View who need to be canceled, they are all sitting there saying because he shows no remorse, he should be held accountable, he should be put in jail. Listen, if I choked out somebody for being like that, I probably wouldn't show any remorse either. I'd probably be like, I did my job. I did part of my job, which was standing in and doing something about it. And unfortunately, guys, there's going to be a moment, if you're in a city like New York, not saying New York itself, but a city like New York, you're going to have to make a call. Something's going to go down in front of you, and you're going to have to make a snap second decision to do something. Now, because of Daniel Penny, a lot of people are not going to do that thing. They're not going to help. They're probably going to whip out their phones and record like they did that lady who was on fire. By the way, there's a video of a cop walking around. What was the cop going to do? Was he going to do? Wrap her in a blanket? He didn't have a blanket. He didn't have an extinguisher. Could he put his jacket on her and then what? Have his jacket melt to her and make matters worse? That is why he was walking around and not doing anything. There was nothing for him to do. Not for nothing. This lady was far gone. She was already dead. She didn't even know it yet. The cop probably did. That's when he looked and he was like, nope. There's nothing you can do for her. Wrapping her in a blanket, like if you had an extinguisher, obviously you want to put her out. But wrapping his coat around her or trying to pat her out, he's going to burn himself or his jacket's going to melt to her and make matters way worse. Even though she was already gone. There was no saving her. Still, to motherfuck that cop for not stepping in. Again, you get in trouble for not stepping in. You get in trouble for stepping in. It's damned if you do, damned if you don't. In New York City, liberals will complain about everything and anything. Doesn't matter what you do. You say the wrong things, they want to cancel you. You handle a dude on the train station, they want to charge you with a crime, murder, or manslaughter, whatever it was. Right? You walk by a person who's fully involved, like the Human Torch, they want to motherfuck you for not helping. You can't win in this city, so you might as well help and feel good about it and save a life. Versus not helping and living with that decision of not helping and watching something bad happen to somebody else. That's going to torment you a lot more and a lot longer than going to jail or being brought in front of a jury. Other than that, guys, this is the Angry Prepper. Thank you for watching the Angry Truth channel.